Okay, this episode pissed me off so bad. Oh my god. Absolutely nothing was settled. I mean, obviously, we knew that the Death Star thing wouldn't be settled because, well, that's the whole point of Rogue One, stealing the plans for the Death Star. So, um, they're really trying to paint Bail Organa in a douchey light. They really are. Nobody wants to. First off, nobody wants to believe that what Cassian is saying is true. Mon is willing to entertain it because she knows Luthen. That even though he was antisocial, he put his heart and soul into the rebellion. So I agree with Cassian. We shouldn't just pretend that what Luthen says is a bunch of made up bullshit because the rebellion means that much to him. Oh, the ISB has been following him. Yeah, and he, like, that's going to stop him? What? And that's why Mon and Cassian were the only ones who trusted what Luthen had to say because they know he went through hell and back for the rebellion. So, of course, he's going to have trustworthy information. Of course, they don't, because he, made sure the right hand didn't know what the left was doing. They didn't know it was Lonnie. They didn't know that he wanted out and Luthen killed him. They don't know that part. I don't think even Clea knows that part. Possible she knows, but. So, so yeah, they really did Bail dirty. I mean, at the end, he was given intelligence by the general and by Mon that made him change his tune. And we only got a cameo from Saw Gerrera, which was enough to show just how paranoid he is to the point that he absolutely hates the rebellion. He hates that part of the rebellion, even though to the point where he doesn't believe that the Empire could possibly have tabs on him. Maybe that's why he got involved in a fight that ended up that he couldn't breathe on his own. Because at this point, he still can. And this is a few minutes before Rogue One starts. So, what, during the events of Rogue One, we just didn't see that Saw got so injured that he couldn't breathe on his own? I mean, we're missing something here. But Mon now has the hairstyle of how she had in Rogue One. Cassian wears his hair the way he did in Rogue One. I was wondering if they were going to do that or if they were going to just keep their hair the way it is and be like, people aren't going to pay attention to such details. So I did like that. I was so annoyed that they are implying that Clea is Cassian's sister. I mean, suddenly her hair is darker. Even. Her hair was never this dark at any other point, and now it is. So they really are implying hard that she is in fact his sister. But if this is starting a few minutes before Rogue One, Cassian never learns that. So they are like heaping tragedy upon tragedy to just in case you didn't know that he's supposed to be this Greek tragic figure, because he never learns that Clea is his sister. They show Bix with a little boy, with a baby. I'm pretty sure that was her reason for leaving, Not just that she wanted him to choose the rebellion, but over her, but she knew she was pregnant. And she didn't, A, want the kid to grow up like that. She knew Cassian wouldn't want that, and that he would want to be there for the baby. Which, because, he's a decent human being, he wants to be there for his kid. So she did not want to stand in his way. She wanted him to do what he did. Which just adds to the tragedy that there is this little boy who's growing up in Star Wars who never knew his father, who is this hero. So, and his father never knew he existed. So they just heap tragedy upon tragedy. I mean, why couldn't they have answered that question definitively? Why couldn't they have said, yes, this is his sister, and, find a holodisc or whatever they call it, and say that, have Luthen give his last will or something, say, oh, by the way, Clea is your sister, or somehow have dual nightmares, I guess you could call it. Cassian remembering his sister and she remembering her brother. Just to, hammer home that, oh yes, this is the way it is. This is his sister. They're siblings. Find some way to discover that. But nope. We have our answer basically about that, but Cassian doesn't. Clea doesn't. I mean, who knows if she was even looking for Cassian? It's entirely possible that, considering how young she was, it's possible she completely forgot about him or thought he was dead or whatever. So, yeah, it's just, we see Dedra in that prison camp. And so we all know how that goes. She's going to be stuck there for all time. Unless she, like Cassian, figures out a way out. He did a jailbreak. She's smart enough to do a jailbreak. But she seems just despondent. She seems completely despondent, so probably she's going to spend the rest of her life there, because who knows if she was given a certain sentence, or if, it's going to be a matter of, she's there, life without parole or whatever. Well, we know it's without parole because, you don't actually escape there. We found that out last season. You don't escape that prison camp. So yeah, we get a montage of these characters. But what I really wanted was a post-credit scene after the events of Rogue One. Who's still alive? Is there a memorial for Andor? Is there a, who remembers who? We saw something very interesting, though. The one thing about this montage that became very interesting is Perrin and the mother of his daughter seem to have gotten together. So we don't know if something happened to the shady businessman, or she just, she took her opportunity because Mon Mothma ditched Perrin. But he's obviously still on Coruscant. He's still obviously living it up. So now we know that it's permanent. That's why we didn't hear from about Perrin after the fact. He's now has a new life, and maybe this was worked out somehow, so they would stay safe because Mon is the face of the rebellion. Who knows? But that was the only interesting thing about the montage. That and that Bix has a kid. But yeah. Yeah, that's just heaping tragedy upon tragedy on Cassian. Because it's not on Clea. Because if Clea is his sister and she's not aware that her brother survived, well, there's no tragedy because how can she miss someone she didn't know was her brother to begin with? Let's see. What else is there? I'm trying to think if there's anything. I'm glad they didn't kill her off. That when that grenade, that flash bomb went off, that smoke bomb went off, that she got knocked out, that she got injured, but I'm glad she didn't die. But at the same time, I was hoping it would come out that she's his sister, and it's annoying that that question was answered for the audience, but not for Cassian. I guess this is the show's way of saying he's moved on from the past, but at the same time, he still freaking dreams of his sister. Why could they not have found a way to say, oh, by the way? So yeah, that seriously ticked me off. Um, like I said, as far as this season goes overall, there were a couple of really good episodes, especially when they focused on spycraft. It was amazing. But because they were going, 3 episodes in this year, 3 episodes in that year, 3 episodes here, that you really couldn't get into it. I know that initially they wanted to do like 5 seasons, but budget wouldn't let them. But at the same time, I would have preferred it. Even if the budget wouldn't be as awesome as it was. At least because I think story-wise it suffered. Because there were some stories you could follow, but like, I don't know, maybe if they did 5 seasons, Cassian would have actually discovered that Clea is his sister. We would have seen the total deterioration of Mon's relationship with Perrin, and him getting it on with his daughter's mother-in-law. I mean, there is so much that we missed because we went jumping around that it was hard to really follow. I mean, some stuff you could, like the Death Star. Okay, they finally figured out about the Death Star. But there are certain things you just don't get a handle on. Certain backstories you couldn't get a handle on, like, does Clea know that her brother is still alive? Does she think he's dead? Is it true that Clea is 100% Cassian's sister, which I am convinced that she is? It's just, something was missing. There was a through line in the first season that seemed to be missing because they had to show a little bit from this year, a little bit from that year, that there was just something missing, some continuity, something was just not sitting right. There were certain episodes that were amazing, like the Gorman Massacre, but But then there were certain things that they were like, because we only have a few episodes, let's get this person killed off in this way. And who cares how convoluted it is. Like, why did that ISB supervisor, why did he kill himself? Okay, there are more and more people who are turning towards the rebellion, which geniuses, of course, what did you expect? The truth was going to get out about Gorman. People were going to find out that, you guys did a false flag just so you could destroy a planet. Of course, people are going to rise up. But this was the beginning. Why is he killing himself now? If, wait till all hope is lost. Then consider killing yourself. But no. And that other supervisor who seemed perfectly fine, he was like, yeah, I totally know what you're going to do. Because when stormtroopers lifted up their guns, he was like, nope, it's fine. Because he knew. Now, did he know beforehand when he left? It seemed likely. Because he didn't seem shocked at all. The guy who found out that his partner was going to rape Bix had more emotion than this guy did. It was fun to watch K2SO just mow down the entire ISB to save Cassian and company so they could get off of Coruscant. I definitely enjoyed that. Normally I'm not a fan of K2SO, but this reminded me of what I like about him. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to mention about this season, about this episode. But yeah, I would love to know what happened to these characters. Because people like Clea, people like Vel, they didn't just disappear into the ether. These people have been shown to be too integral to the rebellion to just suddenly disappear and never be heard from again. We know what Mon is eventually going to do. And I'm not just talking about Rebels, which I did not see. But I mean just in general, you just have to look up Wikipedia. You know what she's destined for. But we don't know what... I find it hard to believe that Clea and Vel just disappear into the background, never to be seen again. And I get that Perrin moved on with his life because it seemed like he and Mon were just stayed married to stay married by the end, but really? Her? That's just so freaking bizarre. It's very, very bizarre. So yeah, there was just some choices that you just had to shake your head. Wait, what? And I would love to see, it looks like they fell in love. That's a possibility. Or maybe it was, well, my wife ditched me, my husband ditched me, let's get together. It could be literally anything. We do not know. You just look at it and you're like, wait, what? Bix being pregnant, it's like, huh? But at least it makes sense. She was sleeping with Cassian. Duh. Like I said, it's just heaping tragedy upon tragedy for Cassian. It's like, oh yeah, let's make him this Greek tragic hero by making, giving him everything that he's going to be losing. So yeah, it's just I don't know. I was disappointed with this episode. I really, really was. So, anyway, I think that is all I have for this video. And with that, I will see you guys in the next one.